Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Rob and Rob. Yes, you know, people ask us questions and yes, we answer them. But it works and you keep coming back and it seems quite popular, so we'll keep doing it. This week, 2 great questions in, and these wonderful people have followed one of either 2 paths to make it happen.
They have either called 013 808 0035, that's 013 808 0035, or they have gone to thepropertyhub.net/ask. Which have they done? It doesn't matter. They are both equally good. They're both ways of communicating your question over to us and the first step towards getting your answer. So let's have a listen to the first of today's questioners, who is an absolute legend.
Hello, Rob and Rob, you pair of legends. I hope you're both well. Thank you so much for your amazing podcasts. I've learned so much from them. And I'd also like to say thank you to my friend Nuri who recommended them. I have a question this week for you. I'm interested in buying property around Manchester. I know you recommended Stockport. I'm just wondering which areas around Manchester you'd recommend and what I should be looking for. Is it in terms of rail links or what? And you're not allowed to mention the word fundamentals. Thank you so much for your help. Really appreciate it. Bye.
Well, thank you, Nuri's friend, and thank you, Nuri, for passing on the podcast. It seems like it was a popular recommendation. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, though, Rob, without saying the F word, and that's not a swear word. But let's have a go. Okay, Manchester, very popular, understandably so. Stockport, mentioned that before. So, is it led by transport links and investment and all the other bits that make up good, fun things that we want to look for? Then yes, absolutely. So there are so many areas then that start ticking the boxes. For example, in and around Manchester Airport is really interesting. The amount of money that's poured into that area, very much like Stockport, an area that is not huge, but a tremendous amount of money going in will make a big, big difference. If you look where Manchester Airport is and look at the surrounding areas, Wythenshawe, for example, is an area that's quite low on a price point level compared to its surrounding areas. So you could say that maybe some ripple effects going into that region. Some people will go Wythenshawe, really, but people said that about Stockport as well, and it's already happening. So there's lots of areas, but just look at where the money's going in. If you research the Manchester regeneration projects, yes, clearly there's some in the city centre, and that's what makes the city centre attractive, but there are other areas on the outskirts as well. Kind of areas that maybe if you're feeling a little braver, but there's good reason to look at them to consider as well. Places like Wigan. Wigan's going to get the HS2 line, and it's also got quick commutes into Manchester. Once Wigan has that line, it'll be quick into Manchester, quick into Birmingham, obviously reasonable times into London. But from a transport point of view, and businesses tend to follow good transport links, Wigan's looking pretty strong. Bolton's pretty interesting as well. Low price point, quick commutes into Manchester. So check all these areas out. By the way, that list that I've just given you, that's not the end of it. That's just the beginning of it. Just do some more research and you'll find plenty of opportunity. But I think that's the key. There is plenty of opportunity. The safer stuff, if you're not feeling as brave, like the city centre or places like Sale and the surrounding areas to them, or some of the areas I've just mentioned, if you're feeling a little bit braver, where the capital growth hasn't started to kick in yet, but almost certainly will at some point in the future.
Rob, all credit to you. I make that at least 2 minutes without using the F word. Very impressive. And lots of great information in there as well. I think that's exactly right. You're just looking for some kind of story, some kind of reason. The whole city and area seems primed to do well. Some will do better than others. You can look at the areas that are never going to do anything in a million years and write those off. Then you can see some that seem to be really primed and others that will go off the back of it. There is absolutely loads of opportunity. If anything, there's too much and it's hard to know what to choose from. So don't get overwhelmed by it. Don't go looking for the absolute best. Just find an area that you're confident in and then find the right investment within that area. Okay, so one more question to go. This one is from Malcolm. Let's hear what he has to ask.
Hi, Rob. I'm Malcolm Haynes, and I just want to say a big thank you for all that you're doing on this property podcast. It's certainly it's given me the confidence to invest in properties, and from listening to you guys each week, it's given me the knowledge that so when I'm talking to other people about investing in property or even buying just another house, it makes me sound intelligent and all-knowing, and so thanks for that, guys. In fact, I'd go so far to say that your podcast is practically perfect in every way. The only thing that could make it a little bit better is to bring back Rick. Anyway, my problem is this. I've recently bought 2 properties. A house in Doncaster and one through the help of RMP, great service by the way folks, thanks for all your help on that one, an apartment over in Stockport. One of the properties I've had for 2 months and the other one for 4 months. These properties are brilliant, fantastic, everything's going really good for them, but my problem is this, is that now I've run out of any surplus cash. So the good news though is that I have got over 100,000 in equity on my own residential home, and I only have 15 years left on the mortgage. My plan was to draw some of that equity out for a deposit or 2 and extend the mortgage a few years so that I'm roughly paying the same amount each month for the mortgage as I am now. But I've been told that I can't do that because in 15 years' time, I actually do retire. So I'm just wondering, is there any way round this? Or do I have to wait until my other 2 properties increase in value? Just wondering what else to do, really. So thanks for what you're doing, lads. Keep smiling. You're brilliant.
Well, we've got some lovely people on the podcast this week, Rob. Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Malcolm. Glad you're enjoying the podcast and enjoying the services that we've offered, and having a good experience through the businesses that we run. Okay, so to answer your question, an interesting one. It's going to depend on a few things. Now, you can't extend your mortgage. We understand that because you're retiring. But let's look at this from a different approach. When was the last time you remortgaged? Interest rates aren't really moving. They come down slightly last year, but nothing noticeable. But what's interesting is that mortgage products out there are coming down in their rates all the time. They're getting more and more competitive. So if the last time you took out a mortgage was 2-3 years ago, then you'll find that the mortgages available to you today are going to be a lot less in terms of rate. Now, of course, rates can change in the future, so you may want to consider a longer term fix. Ultimately, you may find that you can get into a new product, keep the same time length, maybe not get all the money out that you've talked about, but at least get some of it out and not be paying any more because your rates come down and it's a more competitive product. So that's one approach. But I'd actually question, do you need to at all? And this is something only you can answer. Because you talk about retiring in 15 years. Is that nailed on? Why are you doing this? What's the driver for you to invest in property? Ask yourself that, and then ask yourself, if this goal, whatever that reason is non-negotiable and I have to hit it, then can you afford not to do it? But if it's just a nice-to-have goal, then maybe it's not so important to push yourself. Only you can answer that, Malcolm. If it's a non-negotiable goal that you must hit, then you need to find a way to refinance, and even if that means paying slightly more a month to make that happen, then go ahead, push on, do it, as long as you do it responsibly. But if it's just a nice-to-have goal, then maybe not do it at all. And that's important. That's a general lesson for everyone, is when people look at refinancing and taking money out, is this because you have to do it to hit your goals, or just a nice thing to do? Do you need that extra risk or not? Is the risk of not hitting your goals far bigger and scarier than the risk of taking some money out? It's an interesting question, but a good one for everyone to be asking themselves when they look at this type of scenario.
It is a really interesting question. So thank you, Malcolm, for sparking that one off. I think there's some really useful points in there. Speaking of mortgages, in every issue of the Property Hub magazine, we have got a column by one of the UK's best mortgage experts, as well as keeping on top of all the developments in the property world. It's well worth picking up for £5 a quarter. For just £5 a quarter, you get a magazine sent to your door. You also get an exclusive webinar with every issue just for subscribers. We recently had Dave Cookson, our mortgage expert, doing one of those webinars. So if you subscribe, you can go back and listen to that and all our previous webinars as well. So if you're not yet subscribed to the magazine, go to thepropertyhub.net/magazine and put that right for just £5.
Okay, well, that's it. You know the drill. 2 questions, 2 questions answered, we're done. But we're back on Thursday with the Property Podcast, so make sure you join us then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.